We own this country. This is Ngāpuhi's response to you. He wakaputanga makes Maori the owners. We don't have to ask permission from anybody. Who holds the power? We already have it. We do not have to have this meeting, but we recommend we function through the tribunal so the Crown entity will know we understand where our power is. It's amazing. We suddenly have a huge audience because this is a constitutional hearing. And we have your presence because you're fearful of us. We own this country. We know it, and it's our turn to tell you what you may have. We're not asking for anybody for anything. We're telling you as owners, straighten up your house. Ours has been standing since we landed here. We're not Chinese. You get your house in order and come to us, and we'll see if we accept your proposals, not the other way around. You have a majority standing by vote. We have he wakaputanga, which is ownership recognised internationally. Do not falter, Ngāpuhi. We are the owners who hold it for Aotearoa. Remember, we have the whole of Māoridom, not just our little patch. And when you come to negotiate, remember you are the owners. They're coming to ask us what they can share, and we will distribute what we consider you may have. We may not want you as partners. And as the possessor of ownership of Aotearoa, come to us with your proposal of what we can give you. We're not going to give you the land you're sitting on illegitimately. And we're not going to recognise the house that issues our proctors for us. We have our own whare noho. This is the first time Ngāpuhi is serving notice to you. Come to us with your house. Do not invite us into any sort of arrangement because we already have a whare for Māori. Not just Ngāpuhi Nui Tonu, Māori Aotearoa, and we stretch over Aotearoa as Waitaha. Bear in mind, it's our possessions you have all been using illegitimately. We have been aware of your theft. There's no easier word for it. So be aware when you come to us. We know how you function. We also know how we function.
Okay, just before we crack into today's video, let me explain how you can help us. More and more Kiwis are waking up to the fact that New Zealand is in big trouble right now. So how can we turn this country around? The answer is through education. What does that mean? Well, it means exposing more and more people to our videos. It's as simple as that. Just click on the subscribe button on the bottom right-hand corner of your screen, and you'll be subscribed. What happens then? Well, when you subscribe, YouTube sends our videos out to more Kiwis. That's how it works. Subscribing is free. You'll never be charged anything. It's just that simple. So please do it and then enjoy the rest of the video. Thank you very much for watching. Just by subscribing, you can play a big part in the solution to fixing New Zealand. Well done, you. Well, hi, you beautiful New Zealanders. In today's video, we're going to talk about how Maori are taking control of Parliament and indeed the whole country. So what's in this video? In this video, I discussed how Trevor Mallard and Jerry Brownlee are to blame fair and square for the Maorification of Parliament. Number two, I discuss how behind Brownlee are the puppet masters Luxon and Potaka. Number three, I discuss how Maori want to take control of Parliament. Number four, how the National Party, by being weak, by not just allowing it to happen, but they're also helping it along, they have just set up a committee to investigate how to introduce Tikanga into Parliament officially. Can you believe it? But that's true, I'm not joking. Number 5, discuss how lawyer Stephen Frank sums up the situation perfectly. And number 6, to discuss why it's so crucial to join the dots. So watch. Okay, let's crack into it. What's really going on in our Parliament? Well, National leading the coalition government, we know that. Hence, they got to choose who the Speaker of the House was. The Speaker of the House is the person in Parliament who presides over debates in the debating chamber by determining who may speak. We've seen that, right? The Speaker maintains order during debates, yeah? He or she is supposed to discipline members who break the rules of the House. That's how it is. Little by little, though, Jerry Brownlee has capitulated to Maori demands and bad behaviour. When we, the public of New Zealand, watch what's going on inside Parliament, we soon realise that we are watching what can be likened to the inner workings of a very dysfunctional family. That's what we're seeing. Te Pāti Maori is the spoilt child and Jerry Brownlee the foolish, weak parent. Wise parents will tell you that if you give in to the demands of your children often enough, they will eventually rule your home. Well, we're just watching this play out in our own Parliament. So the first act of parental capitulation, what was that? Well, first Waititi demanded that he not wear a tie. Remember that? He claimed a tie was a symbol of colonialism or white supremacy. Trevor Mallard, one of the most foolish politicians ever to grace our Parliament, was the Speaker who capitulated. This was 2021. Mallard ought to have ruled the opposite way. He should have said, no, this is our standard and we're keeping to it. In 1840, Maori ceded sovereignty. This gave the British the full right to rule over all the citizens of the country, including Maori. I'm ruling that suits and ties are mandatory dress code for males in the House. You know what? I have every right to rule in this way because I am your sovereign ruler. Your ancestors gave me that right. Take your seat, Waititi, honour the treaty. This is the end of the matter. That's what he should have said because that's all 100% true. That's what happened in 1840. Well, but no, he didn't do that. He capitulated. Waititi, he saw this as a great victory, and it was for Maori. It was a great victory for Maori. Well, watch. This was 2021.
Today seems like a different day to yesterday. It seems like there's some kind of acceptance by the Speaker, and I think he's retracted on the decision made yesterday and at the end of Parliament last year. And it seems like we've got a progressive Parliament that looks at cultural freedoms to allow them their cultural identity to be expressed in this particular space.
I had a discussion with his co-leader and we agreed on a truce for a day until the Standing Orders Committee meets, and that is what has occurred. I did have an undertaking that he wouldn't be speaking, but that he'd only be present, but we're going to deal with these matters at 7:15 tonight. And are you going to change the tie rule? It's a matter that I've sought advice on from the Standing Orders Committee, which is a broad cross-section of Parliament. I think I'm likely to get more balanced advice from that than I did from an earlier survey.
Okay, so there you go. So the second act of capitulation, what was that? Well, Jerry Brownlee has carried on where Mallard left off, only he's much worse. Brownlee did nothing when Waititi, wearing a ridiculous $2 shop headdress, waved a Maori weapon around a patu inside Parliament. Remember that? There's the photo on the right-hand side. Waititi demanded this be allowed because he was Maori, he said. And this is how Maori behave. He cried out, this is how we express ourselves in our Maori culture. This is our Maori identity, he roared. Well, Brownlee just capitulated. Brownlee, like a weak parent with a spoilt brat, let it go. He allowed it. He said nothing to stop it. By giving into it, Brownlee encouraged more of it. He doesn't realise this is psychology 101. It's the same with spoilt children. You give in to them and they get worse. Well, Jerry Brownlee didn't stop there. Next, he allowed Maori to ask questions in Maori, even though Maori speak and understand English perfectly. What was this all about? It's just about power and control. They just want to take control of Parliament. He justified his decision by saying Maori is an official language. That's Brownlee said that. But I say, so what? Sign language is an official language too. Why don't we use sign language in Parliament? The answer is because so few understand it. It's the same with Maori language. So few understand it, so let's not use it. Use the language that most people understand, which is English. It's just a no-brainer. But no, Brownlee capitulated. Yeah, just usual. Brownlee should have said no. English is the language spoken by the vast majority of New Zealanders. In 1840, Maori ceded sovereignty. This gave the British the full right to rule over all the citizens of the country, including Maori. I represent the government. I'm ruling that English be the only language be used in our house, along with sign language for the deaf who are watching parliamentary TV at home. Your ancestors in 1840 gave me the right to make this ruling. So we're honouring the treaty and you are not. Take your seat, Waititi. This is the end of the matter. That's what he should have said, but he didn't say that. What did Brownlee do? Did Brownlee do that? No, he did not do that. Brownlee capitulated, and in doing so literally encouraged more tyrannical behaviour from the Maori Party. And sure enough, he got it. Next came the introduction of Tikanga, or Maori law, into Parliament. Maori MPs are demanding that Tikanga be accepted into Parliament. So what was National's response? Well, this is what happened. Now Jerry Brownlee can be heard saying things like, that's not the Tikanga of the House, or that Tikanga is not acceptable in the House, or I see such and such as acceptable Tikanga in the House, and so on. In other words, Brownlee is not just capitulating, not just fueling Maori rebellion and tyranny, but he's personally taking on board Maori culture. He's Maorifying. He's moving towards the point of conversion to the Maori religion. That's what he's doing. And behind him and directing him, encouraging him, are the puppet masters, Luxon and Potaka. These are the two most dangerous people in our Parliament. They're heavily into activist activities, and they are fueling Maorification, co-governance, and everything else. Then came the haka. So can you see how things are escalating? From a tie to allowing all kinds of attire, to allowing weapons in Parliament, the use of Maori language, to Tikanga, Maori laws, gods and spirits, and then to full haka, threatening other members of Parliament. Then they refused to attend a disciplinary committee hearing. So what has happened since then? Well, what has happened is hard to believe, and I'm not even joking. A special committee has been set up by National, this is not Labour or the Greens or Te Pāti Maori, by National, to investigate how Tikanga can be formally and officially introduced to Parliament. This seems like Ardern, but it's not. It's National. It's Luxon, Potaka, Brownlee. You know what? If you just look at all this, you can see how there's an escalation going on here. It's serious. Getting control of Parliament. Well, what's going on here? What's the hidden agenda of Maori? This is about power and control. Many Kiwis have not woken up to the fact that what you are seeing in Parliament is just a shadow of what is happening in the rest of the country. What's that? Well, Maori are taking over New Zealand. Listen to what lawyer Stephen Franks says. Watch.
TPM has been basically having a fight to see who's boss for some years, and Parliament has always wimped out. And if this one, I expect they'll do the same. They'll try and deal with this in some way that doesn't have a direct confrontation.
I know that in private meetings the Maori Party have been incredibly defiant towards the Speaker, Jerry Brownlee, and that this has been brewing for some time. How important do you think it is, and how serious do you think this is?
Well, it's very important to the Maori Party. Their role, or they see their role as being to show who's boss, and to them, they make no secret of it. They believe that Maori are boss in New Zealand because they say it was theirs, and they want the power back. So by acceding to a whole series of small provocations, they've essentially been forced to keep going further and to become more and more truculent, because the purpose of this is not the particular issue, the ability to do belligerent hakas in the House. The purpose of this is to show who's in charge. And if the Speaker has been wimping, or looks as if he's been wimping, they have to go further.
See that? That's as clear as you'll ever get it from lawyer Stephen Franks. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Well, getting control of Parliament is just one trophy thereafter. What Stephen is saying is that by giving in to seemingly small Maori demands, their demand to ditch ties and suits, their desire to brandish weapons, their desire to run Parliament according to Tikanga, and to ask and answer questions in Maori, etc., they literally fuel the Maori desire to come back for more. And sure enough, it's happened. The first stage of formal introduction of Tikanga into Parliament is underway. Watch this. YTN News released this press release just a little while ago, and this is what it says. On April the 25th, YTN News announced, today, Maori Development Minister Tama Potaka said that a new committee led by Adrian Ruawhai, he's actually a Maori national MP, is working on formally integrating Tikanga into Parliament. I'm not joking, this is actually happening. We're getting Maori gods and law and spirits and all the rest of it entering into Parliament, the seat of power in our country. This is so serious and so dangerous. Do people really realise what on earth's going on in our country? Man, this is the most dangerous thing so far. This is the most dangerous development so far. Well, so don't be distracted. I would say to finish, don't be distracted by trivia. We can't afford to do this. Luxon says he's trying to build a big economy. He says look left, but look right is the stuff that's really dangerous going on. And climate change, which is a big hoax anyway. Well, earthquakes here and a terrible event over there. What are all these things? Well, essentially they're distractions from the main thing. The really important thing, the thing we ought to be laser focused on, which is the Maori takeover of New Zealand. Well, why? Because if Maori take over New Zealand, we're screwed. Forever. We are. Tribal rule is not funny. Just study pre-1840 New Zealand history. You know what? We'll become the Zimbabwe of the South Pacific in no time at all, and that's just a fact. This is not scaremongering. This is the reality of what's happened in South Africa, and it's going to happen here for sure. Remember I told you about the camel in the tent? Well, the way Maori are slowly but surely weaseling their way into every area of New Zealand society is alluded to in a tale called The Camel in the Tent. Well, here it is. Tell me if this is an accurate reflection of what is happening in our country or not. Let me know in your comments. So here it is. So here's a very famous parable called The Camel in the Tent. In my book, The Psychology of Takeover, 19 Strategies Maori Activists Are Using to Take Over New Zealand. By the way, you can get this book by emailing cards@stopcogovernance.kiwi. I talk about a strategy that Maori activists have used since 1975 to try and take over the country. What's that? It's called The Camel in the Tent. Let me explain how this works. According to this classic tale, one cold night, a camel asks his master if he can put his head in the tent for warmth. Oh, by all means, and welcome, said the man, and the camel stretches his head into the tent. Soon after, the camel inquires if he may also bring his neck and front legs inside. Again, the master agrees. Finally, the camel asks, oh, you know what, may I just stand wholly within? With pity, the master beckons him into the warm tent. Well, what happens next? But when the camel comes forward, it becomes clear that the tent is too small for them both. I think the camel said that there is not room enough for both of us here. Oh, it will be best for you to stand outside, as you are the smallest, said the camel. There will then be room enough for me. And with that, the man is forced outside his tent. Well, you can see what's going on here. The fable is a warning that small, seemingly harmless acts can often lead over time to huge negative repercussions. This is the camel in the tent, and this is what Maori activists have been using since 1975. So, where does this lead us? How does this tale relate to Maori activists? To gain control of some piece of land, some situation, or sea, or lake, or mountain, or river, or some asset, some person, some entity, some committee, some council, some project, you know what, they start small. For example, when the Treaty of Waitangi Act was enacted in 1975, the Waitangi Tribunal was mandated to investigate breaches of the treaty forward from 1975. Well, what happened? Only 9 claims were registered. It was tin pot. Activists infiltrated the tribunal. No one saw this coming, that this tribunal could be overtaken by activists. Then in 1985, the Act was amended to investigate claims back to 1840. Now in 1975, when they put this Act into, enacted it, nobody could see these two changes, activists infiltrating the tribunal and the Act being amended. No one saw this coming. The number of claims rocketed up to 2,034 by 2009. Now these figures come from this book by Mike Butler. Well, what happens next? In 2025, the number of claims in the pipeline, how many are there? There's 10,000. So we've gone from 9 to 2,034 to 10,000. Well, who saw all this coming in 1975? Then there is the beaches. Helen Clark ruled the beaches belonged to everyone, but Maori could have limited customary rights, she said. In 2011, Chris Finlayson went further. Maori could have full customary rights, he said, so he passed a bill to this effect. To get customary rights, Maori had to prove that they had used the coastline they were claiming continuously and exclusively since 1840. You see how the camel moves into the tent little bit by little bit, a few changes here, a few changes there, and then boom, look what happens. Very few groups qualified. the activists infiltrated the courts. Now, in 2011, when Chris Finlayson enacted that law, he didn't see the activists being infiltrating the courts. Man, he couldn't see that coming. They changed the rules to allow Maori claims using Tikanga, or Maori law. Nobody thought that was coming. 500 claims rolled in. Again, I say no one saw that coming. Well, can you see how this works? What's the lesson? Don't even open the door of the tent. Keep it firmly zipped up. Sadly, the camel has got into the tent in New Zealand, in our schools, in our universities, in our police, in our medical system, our lawyers, our courts, our real estate agents. The list is absolutely endless. The government has created like a monster with 1,000 heads and 10,000 tentacles, and the tentacles have got into every single aspect of our society. It's everywhere. Politicians over the last 50 years have been so foolish to have allowed it. What do I mean by this? Well, what have our politicians lacked? The answer is they've lacked common sense and foresight. Well, what are these two? Common sense guides a man or a woman to do what's best for everyone. Foresight allows a man or a woman to see far into the future to predict possible negative consequences of actions. Now, if you combine common sense and foresight, what do you get? The answer is you get wisdom. This is the most precious of all human qualities, wisdom. Everyone, whether they're in a position of power or not, should seek wisdom. It's absolutely priceless, and our politicians lack this one great, great quality. You know what we've got to do here, just as I finish, we've got to join the dots. What do I mean by that? Well, the hijack of the education system, grooming our children from kindy to the end of university with Maori religion, that's what's going on. Because they've got to the children because they want to brainwash all our kids so that when they become voting age, they're going to vote for all things Maori. That's what's going on. Our kids are and grandkids are being brainwashed flat out. Compulsory Maori studies for university students, compulsory Maori studies for law students, compulsory Maori studies for real estate agents, local councils being hijacked, the corruption of the courts, people like Chris Finlayson and Ardern appointing activist judges everywhere. Two-tier policing, where Maori get treated lightly and everybody else is stamped on. Maori claiming all the beaches are theirs. That's another one. Claims in for the control of the fresh water in the South Island by Ngāi Tahu. If that goes through, all the North Island tribes will go for it. The existence of corrupt activist Waitangi Tribunal. Tikanga being made law in New Zealand. Strategic assets being given away to Maori through settlements like Kaitaia Airport, Wanganui Airport, and God knows where else they're giving away stuff that we don't know a lot of the things that are going on because they're all done secretly under the table. Activist MPs like Luxon, Potaka and Goldsmith fueling Maorification. Land grabbing by Maori through things like wahi tapu and land significant to Maori status. I've lost some of my land through wahi tapu. Developers have had to can their developments because of interference by Maori, and the courts siding with the Maori activists. It's disgusting. Maori only fishing areas, that's just nothing but straight out apartheid. Media corruption, promoting all things Maori. Now these are just some things that have come to mind. You can think of other things that are going on in New Zealand where Maori have got their tentacles in, see? Or if you put a dot beside all of these things, and I'd like you in the comments to think of other things that I haven't thought of just off the top of my head, and you tell me other things that come to mind about where Maori are having great influence and they've got in, like weaseling in, then you join all these dots together and you hold them in your head all at once, and you just look at this picture, hold them all together simultaneously, and what's the idea? You just come to the conclusion New Zealand's in the midst of a coup. That's what's going on. And then you add Hei Puapua and Mai Tiki Mai. These are these two dangerous documents where Maori openly say, they don't hide it, they openly say they want to be in full control of the country by 2040. There you go. So we're in the midst of a coup. And you know what? We don't hear Kiwis talk about this, but they must. We must start debating this, talking about it. We must get it out, because most people are too frightened to talk about it. They don't want to even imagine it, but we must, because if we don't talk about it, we can't fix it. That's the way it is. Now, just before I go, I want to ask you to do one thing for us. We've got to get a whole lot of our Stop Co-Governance booklets from Gore to Auckland, and we're looking at all kinds of ways. If you can take a few boxes in a car, you're travelling from down the bottom of the South Island to Auckland, or in your private jet, your private helicopter, or whatever you drive, then we'd love to hear from you. So really, can you help? If you can help, just get hold of us, get hold of me or Vicky or somebody in our team, and that would be absolutely fantastic. All right, you guys, you're absolutely awesome. I think you're great. Keep up the good work, and thank you for all those who are out there delivering pamphlets and flyers and brochures, because you know what? Turning New Zealanders around is about educating people about what is actually going on. Many people are asleep. Many people are apathetic. So education is going to be the absolute key to turning New Zealand around. So there's many people out all over the country delivering flyers and booklets and so on, so that we can really get savvy and get understanding of what's going on in this country. All right, see you next time. Okay guys, that's enough for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Now we need your help with something. This is important. We have produced some great flyers and brochures which we want to get into the hands of all New Zealanders. So we need to go around the mainstream media. They're not going to help. In fact, they're making things a lot worse. So we have to go around them. And we need your help to make this happen. We can't do this without you. So what are we talking about? First, there is our business cards. They're only 3 cents each plus courier to get them to you. Then there is our latest booklet called The Psychology of Takeover, 19 strategies Maori activists are using to take over the country. It's 80 pages and packs a huge punch. So they're cheap, they're $3, and they're absolutely fantastic if you want to get a handle on what's actually happening in New Zealand. Then we have a few thousand of our original Stop Co-Governance booklets left over from my tour in 2023. Remember these? You'll remember we printed 550,000 of these. Well, these are now free because we realized that only about 1/3 of New Zealand houses got this booklet last when I did my tour, and so we want to get to the other 2/3. So if you do a few streets around where you live, that would be absolutely phenomenal, and they are free now. Then we have our MACA, that's Marine and Coastal Act brochure 2, which alert people to the loss of our beaches. You know, we're in danger of losing all the beaches around New Zealand. The text is written by Graham Adams, who's a great author. These are now free. And then we have our beautiful bumper sticker, which we've just made. And why are we doing this? Well, New Zealand's identity is under threat. We know that. First activists have and are still trying to change the name of New Zealand to Aotearoa. We don't want that. We must oppose this. This is rubbish. Where's the referendum saying that we want to change the name of the country? There was none. It was just forced on us. Second, Maori sovereignty flags are appearing more and more all over the place, and they're just treason. So we've got to get these bumper stickers out. So we've printed some awesome bumper stickers. They're $3 each, and they measure 21.5 by 6.5, so you can see how big that would be on your car. To get any of these free products, all you need to do is pay for the courier to get them to you. For the products that cost something, like the bumper stickers or the little psychology booklet, it's the cost plus the courier to get them to you. So to order any of these products, just use this email address, cards@stopcogovernance.kiwi, and we'd love to hear from you. Finally, if you want to access all the videos we've ever made, including all our most viewed and most popular videos, and have them all in one place, which is what people are asking for, then just type in this address into your browser. There it is there, https www.youtube.com/@stopcogovernance, and you'll find it goes straight to our channel. Then what you do is save this address to your computer as a favorite. Job done. Well done. Then you've got them all in one place forever. And all the new ones that are coming in get placed into that address, so you won't miss anything. Okay, last thing, please, oh please, don't forget to subscribe. When you subscribe, you'll get the latest videos straight into your inbox. You'll never miss a video, which is great. You'll link up with like-minded people all over New Zealand, and that's very, very stimulating to have meet up with all these people who think like you. You'll be telling YouTube, I like these videos, and they will respond by advertising our videos to more Kiwis for free. It's incredible what they do, but it just relies on you replying to comments and making comments and liking things and sharing things and activity. That's what it is. It's just activity on our channel. And turning New Zealand around is simply a matter of reaching more Kiwis with the truth. So just click on the subscribe button on the bottom right hand side of your screen. The little yellow arrow is showing you where it is, and you'll be subscribed. Okay, see you next time. You guys are awesome.